Date and time, October 30th, 2024, time 4 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk.
City Attorney Doctor.
Here.
City Manager Burton.
Here.
Commissioner Logan.
Here.
Commissioner Reed. Here. Commissioner Shirtless.
Here.
Mayor Collins.
Here.
And for the record, Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Dean may be joining us a bit late.
Welcome and thank you for participating in the City of Helena City Commission Administrative Meeting. We are pleased to be able to provide this alternative meeting format in the city's effort to broaden public participation. Please be patient as we may experience technical difficulties during the meeting. We welcome your public commentary. Please read the following tips and guidelines for the app usage and your participation. Commissioners. Okay, board appointment review. I'm recommending the following board appointments. Helena Business Improvement District. Appointment of Christopher Portley to first term on the Helena Business Improvement District. First term expires October 31st, 2027. Golf Advisory Board, reappointment of Chris Smith to a second term on the Golf Advisory Board. Second term expires October 31st, 2027. Helena Tourism Business Improvement District, appointment of Elise Widow to a first term on the Helena Tourism Business Improvement District. First term expires June 20th, 2028. Zoning Commission, appointment of Mike Roylands to the first term on the Zoning Commission. First term expires September 20th, 2027. Have any comments or questions? Do we have any public comments on this? Move on. Recommendations from Helena Citizens Council. You have the floor, sir.
Mayor Collins and Commission. My name's Bob Schlack. I live in Helena for 45 years. And I represent the Helena Citizen Council District 4, which is the district up by the fairgrounds of Custer and Henderson. Today I have some sheets to pass out to the commission, if I may. It's just a copy of what I'm saying. And if I may be able to defer to any questions from the commission to Ben Kuiper, if I may. Okay, thank you. Helena City Commission, my name is Bob Schlack, and I am a CHUC representative for the Administrative Commission meeting. Wow, I'm here for the meeting. The Helena Citizens Council has written a letter of support for the community change the EPA grant for the Helena schools. We also approved spending for outreach materials such as tote bags and signs. Respectfully submitted, Bob Schlack, honestly. And if there's any questions, I defer them to Ben, and I think he's got a sheet there that a letter. Is that part of this?
We have it. We received.
You have it?
Yes.
Okay. That's my contribution today.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the commission? Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could we hear a bit more about this letter and the grant?
Yes, Mayor, Commissioners, I apologize I didn't get a presentation ready for you all. The author, but $50,000 per view. This letter of recommendation for the City Commission to support the pursuit of these grants came from one of our members, and they felt it prudent that we could encourage the school district to apply for these grants in order to have more resources available for our community. Though it's not within our purview to direct the school district, we felt they perhaps need maybe to encourage those grants. So
thank you. And a little more. I received the letter and I forwarded it on to Manager Burton. Manager Burton had to tweak a little bit, and we're going to move forward with it and bring it to the commission. But if you want to add more,
if I may, Mayor,
please.
I was going to speak to it on the city manager's report. But as the mayor said, he got a request for a letter of support, forwarded it to me. I sent it on to the folks more represent a commission position, which this letter does. So what I was hoping for today was consensus by the commission to sign and send this letter of support.
Okay, we will look at that during your, oh, well, it's now. Okay, commissioners?
I'm fine with that.
Very good, thank you.
Commissioner Dane, welcome. What say you?
Hello. Sorry, everyone. I'm in the airport. I very supportive, super excited. If we can get this for our community, and really glad that we're submitting a letter of support.
Oh, Manager Burton?
Mayor, we'll get a final copy for your signature and send it out.
Okay, does that conclude your
It concludes my report.
Thank you. Presentation, Helena Public Arts Committee Annual Report. Facilities Troy Sampson and or his representative.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I have Amanda Reese here. She's the chair of the HPAC. She'll be presenting the report tonight.
You have the floor, Amanda.
Great. Hello, Mayor, Commissioners. As mentioned, my name is Amanda Reese. I am the chair of the Helena Public Art Committee, and I also have my vice chair, Max Height, here. And tonight we want to take you through our fiscal year 25 annual report of the projects we've been able to complete last year, the projects we have upcoming for this next year, as well as our fiscal year 26 recommendations for commission consideration. And do we have that presentation we can pull up?
Amanda, if you can just ensure that I'm having some slow computer issue.
Please be patient as we may experience technical difficulties.
So much. So as many of you know, the mission of the Helena Public Art Committee is to cultivate, advocate, and preserve public artworks in the city of Helena. And we aim to develop and collaborate on projects that are a source of pride to residents, represent the unique and historical identity of our community, and are accessible to everyone. First slide here. The first project on the slides is the Lindale Tunnel Mural by Elise Perpignano. This was a collaboration with the Helena Public Art Committee, the Helena Open Lands, Parks and Recreation Department, as well as the City of Helena and Lewis and Clark National Forest Service. This was commemorating the 75th anniversary of the Man Gulch Fire and was the second public art mural of Elise here in town. She had a lot of really great support and volunteers that were able to help her through the summer in this. And I think we've all had a chance to see it in person and are really, really happy with how it came out. We were also able to complete 5 new dumpster murals in town following the success of the Rodney Street dumpster project. These were located at different city-owned properties around town and happened during a live painting event during the weekend of May 4th, 2024. We've had a really great response to these, and we found this to be a really great opportunity for local artists to have kind of some middle ground opportunities that to allow them some kind of more portfolio work as they kind of segue into larger projects. We also had another community collaboration. This was an application process that was awarded to Chip Clausen for his project Flora for the Lady. This was installed on the Myrna Loy, and this was through a call for proposals process, and we were able to give him $5,000 in matching funds to be able to install this, and that was put up, I believe, in August of this year. And for upcoming projects for the summer of 2025, we're hoping to wrap some more traffic signal boxes around town. We've wrapped about 19 boxes since 2018, but there's approximately 19 blank signal boxes that remain across Helena, and they're all in prominent and high traffic locations. And I think a lot of these would need to be an easement with the Montana Department of Transportation, but I feel like it's really great wayfinding opportunities that we can explore here in town. Also upcoming this summer is the Memorial Park Bandshell mural. The Memorial Park Bandshell has served the community since the 1940s. And since the 1970s, a new mural has been painted approximately every 10 years, with the last completed in 2010. So perfect timing to come up to the 15th anniversary here and to give this a refresh with some, fresh energy for a very well-loved space for our community to enjoy. All right, so now we're getting into our fiscal year 26 recommendation overview. So the Public Art Committee went through our strategic plan, and we tried to identify kind of just a lot more opportunities that kind of expand our reach, to reach more locations, to have more opportunities for different types of artists, and just to have a kind of a more variety than we've been able to explore the last few years. First up on our list, we would like to explore some downtown walking mall murals, possibly in conjunction with the Summer Arts Festival. We've located two spots that are both on city-owned properties. One is at approximately 25 South Last Chance Gulch, which is across from Brothers Tap Works. It's kind of a forgotten space right now, but it's got a prominent view of the fire tower, and we think it would just really improve the walkability of downtown and just kind of create more opportunities for vibrancy. And also we have determined that a wall at Anchor Park, the Rocky Mountain Development Council's basketball court, we thought this would be a great teen opportunity because it's a much smaller space, and so it's not as difficult or much of a challenge for them to be able to complete, in a timely way. And yeah, these are spots that, have a big opportunity for graffiti, but I feel like public art can really foster a sense of place and community and walkability, as I mentioned. And do you want to go to the next slide here? Oh yeah, so here's some photos too. So you can see above is the spot across from Brothers Tap Works, and below is the basketball court. Both of these have a significantly smaller square footage than, say, the tunnel. It's about 10% of the size. So projects like this, wouldn't take as much legwork and are opportunities for artists that maybe haven't been able to do something of a humongous scale before. Move to our next slide. Also, we would like to explore more dumpster art, maybe recycling bin murals. There's just a lot more opportunities, for places that, have a lot of visibility and could be injected with vibrant designs that could really represent our community in a fun way. The Public Art Committee would also like to recommend that we explore some community benches for the Law and Justice Center. This would complement the garden expansion and the xeriscaping that recently happened. We've found a company called Canvas that repurposes wind turbines and makes them into these benches that can be primed and ready and painted. And this could be through a community process or through teams of artists. There's a lot of ways to kind of have some community involvement and community engagement with a project like this. We would also like to open up the community collaboration application again. We've had so much success with this the last few years. One of the projects was the west side of the Livery Building. Another was the 6th Ward mural, and most recently, Chip Clausen's Flora for the Lady. And we just find this is a great way to, further our mission and leverage the budget of the city, to collaborate with others in a way that if they possibly couldn't have the funds to bring these things to fruition themselves. And find opportunities with community groups, community organizations, and just try and do more with more. The Public Art Committee would also like to recommend that some official Welcome to Helena signs be designed and installed at the east and west entry points to the city. Updated signage would create wayfinding, help to create a welcoming sense of place for visitors and residents, and create an important first impression that we currently don't have. This is something that we've been talking about for some time and wonder, why don't we have a, Welcome to Helena sign? We've explored a lot of different cities' design competitions that they've done around this, and a lot of fun kind of community engagement surveys of, what elements should be incorporated, what do we want our signage, to represent about us. A lot of cities then do a design competition, and then once an artist is selected through a application process, the city could then go to a signage company to kind of fabricate that. So there's some different avenues to explore there, but we think that would be a really great opportunity for our town. And as always, we try to promote public art in any way that we can by always keeping our digital map on the city's website up to date with up-to-date images and photos and information. We're also currently, we just developed a printable public art map that we're hoping to have printed out, at visitor centers and here at the city next summer, as well as being able to share with anyone who would like. And this would provide a list, it provides a directory of all the public art in Helena, as well as walking maps for downtown and Rodney Street. We're currently also compiling a digital audio archive with sound clips provided by local artists, art lovers, and historians with information related to public artworks across the city. And this audio archive could be incorporated into our digital public art map, as well as accessible via QR code placards. So it would be really great to be able to walk up to a mural, scan a QR code, and then hear the artist, share the story and the history of that work. So we think that's going to be a really exciting opportunity. We've also developed a public art maintenance and preservation plan to assist, any future members of the Public Art Committee with having a template for the timelines in restoring, replacing, and removing public art around town. So that way we can look to the future and know, okay, this mural needs to be restored in this year, and it makes it easier for budgeting and timeline purposes. We have 2 current known maintenance needs that we'd like to hopefully have fixed this next year, of replacing one signal box that was had a fender bender and got replaced, as well as some water damage repair to the youth art mural in the 6th Avenue parking garage across from Last Chance Market. And this is a policy recommendation we would like to talk to you more about. We submitted a letter of recommendation a few months ago, and we wanted to use this opportunity to talk a little bit more about percent for public art funding ordinances. There's Missoula and Bozeman both have very successful programs that help foster their public art scenes. And Bozeman, I believe they have, more money than they know what to do with, but they also have a very significant amount of growth. In Missoula, they're able to be really proactive instead of reactive with their projects. So an ordinance like this, and there's over 350 across the nation. It would require up to 1% of eligible construction costs of city capital improvement projects to be allocated for public art. This program would apply to projects paid wholly or in part by the City of Helena to construct or remodel any public or city building, structure, or park. And we could put as many exemptions in this as needed. In Missoula, they have I think a project has to be over $500,000 to apply. So in one example that I saw recently, there is a $1.5 million remodel and restoration of Caris Park that's going to be taking place. And because of that immediately allocates $15,000 as part of that project to public art to go in Karis Park with these changes. So it allows for public art to be included at the beginning of the conversation instead of as a afterthought, as well as being able to allocate money for future maintenance of those projects. As you can see on the right of the screen, those are all sculptures that are in Missoula's public parks that were paid for through their Percent for Art program. So this ordinance, if we were to explore it, I think would significantly enhance our community's cultural landscape and would allow for more innovative opportunities for artists to collaborate with local government. All right, so that was, that's a lot, but I'm happy to answer any questions and just wanted to thank you guys again for your time and yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. I might try to connect you with, there was a group a couple of years ago that was working on welcome signs. It was headed up by SMA architects, but it involved like members of the chamber that but it kind of stalled out. So this might be a good little rejuvenator for that. And it's an important thing, you know, because you're right, that the absence of it says a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Reese, for the presentation. It's great to see all the things that have happened this year. I'm super interested in the ordinance idea. If it would be possible for, I guess, if HPAC has examples from Bozeman and Missoula that could be shared with perhaps buildings. I'm not sure what the chain would be, but I would love to be able to see some of those. Particularly, it sounds like Missoula has some interesting examples. So I think it would be great for us to be able to look and discuss and see how we might move something like that forward. Thank you.
Commissioner Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm really grateful for the presentation. I would be supportive of starting this conversation about what a potential ordinance or process could look like in terms of including a percent for public art. In terms of some of the other projects that came up, I was just wrapping up a conference in Aspen that was all about youth engagement, and I went to a session about how impactful art projects could be for young people and connection with community. And so I am so excited that you're looking into more opportunities to include young people and, you know, maybe we can open up more opportunities in the future, but very excited about all the work, and I'm always so impressed with HPAC. So thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Reese, thank you very much for your presentation today and for what the committee is working on. Got a lot of exciting stuff going on, and it's been great to see over the last couple of years, from murals to the tunnel project, etc. I am in favor of taking a look at the percentage for art. I think it's a really creative idea. Also, too, I participate in meetings with Visit Helena, the Chamber, the BID, MBAC, etc. And coincidentally enough, last week we were talking about the welcome sign and wayfinding, and I think that's a conversation that's happening in a couple of different places. We'd love to rope you in and be part of that conversation as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Ms. Reese, thanks, and please convey to the rest of your team that we really appreciate all the work you're doing. I mean, I'm blown away. I'm not kidding you. You guys got beautiful projects coming up, and I'm on board to see what we can do about the ordinance. We'll look for getting some information about it and then move forward with it.
Thank you. And if I may say, I think a big part of our success is also in our city staff liaisons. Bridget and Emily, they're both really rock stars, and just want to give a shout out to them.
Exactly. Any other comments or questions for Ms. Reese? Any online, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
Thanks for the presentation. Strategic plan implementation strategy presentation. Public Information Officer Jake Garson. You have to go 9.5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Collins and Commission. The mayor said, I'm Jake Garson. I'm the city's public information officer. The city manager asked me to help spearhead pulling follow-up information together related to the commission's strategic planning process that took place last December, almost a year ago now. So today we're going to give you kind of a first introduction to what we're calling implementation strategies related to the commission's strategic plan. So a quick review for anybody that wasn't a part of the process. In December of 2023, the city manager and commission hosted a strategic planning retreat, which took place over about a day and a half here in the city county building. From that, city staff developed a strategic plan document that really pulled together the commission's core values and strategic goals that would guide budget process and operational planning for the city moving forward. In March of 2024, the strategic plan was presented to the commission, and then in June it was adopted by the commission. By nature of the strategic planning document really being capturing what came out of a 2-day planning retreat, it was a snapshot in time in some regard. And so staff then took the information that came out of that and started to pull together this implementation strategies document, which is, I would say, a much more detailed look at all of the work that is being planned and currently taking place throughout the city. So for the implementation strategies, if you remember, the strategic planning document walked through the core values and the strategic goals that were identified in the planning retreat. And then we got into some of the action items, the projects and initiatives that were discussed at the retreat. So, we moved forward things that had not been completed as we started to work on the implementation strategies document. But then we looked to expand that with information from some of our departments. Fire department, as an example, had a department work plan that was developed through a consultant of their strategic planning process. So information was pulled from department work plans, capital improvement plan projects, and then also operational projects of high impact things like the ERP system, right, which is a huge public impact, a lot of resources being dedicated to it, but wasn't necessarily part of the CIP or some of the other conversations that we had. I did want to give a quick overview of a couple elements of the actual document, just so that everyone kind of understands what we're talking about. So again, the idea behind this is to really emphasize the projects and initiatives which can be found under the action items. And so we did try to tie things back to some of the strategies that were outlined in the strategic planning document. But as we talk about projects, those can be found really under the action items column of this document. The resources tab, the idea behind highlighting the different resources that each project or initiative involves is so that everyone has an understanding of whether something is requiring dedicated staff time, whether there is budget implication, maybe something that has already been allocated through the budget process, or looking forward in the next 2 or 3 years, there could be a need for budget resources to move a project forward. And then we also highlighted any initiatives that would have commission action, whether it's in strategy or whether it's through the budget process. If something is going to be included in an upcoming fiscal year budget request, the commission is going to have to make a decision on that. So as we talk about resources, that is generally the intent. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight, the time frame. I believe if you think back to the strategic plan document, we talked about projects and initiatives looking at year 1, year 2, year 3. As I started to gather information from the departments, a lot of people looked at it based on fiscal years. I think for residents, calendar years resonates a little bit more. And so we opted to kind of frame this conversation based on calendar years that we would be looking at either working on implementation or would be forecasting, starting work on projects. So as we think about budget, for example, fiscal year may not necessarily align with calendar year, but we felt that it might make the most sense for the public to focus on calendar year as we talk about things. There were just a couple of changes from the strategic planning document, and part of that came from, I think, going through it again. I will note that in the strategic planning document, there was a reference to exploring expanded capital transit services. And that lived underneath the infrastructure section, and it felt like it made more sense to live within services. So I don't believe anything changed from how it's represented, but it can be found in a different section of this document. And then we also made an update to the reference to public safety staffing. At the time of the strategic planning document, there were a lot of conversations about pursuing mill levy to achieve our public safety staffing needs. We felt that it's still a need for police and fire to continue explore funding opportunities to increase staffing. But because there's not a defined approach at this point, we felt it was important to change the wording, not necessarily the intent, but you will see the wording is different. And then the last one I highlighted, we did include in a couple of sections a reference to the Racial Equity and Leadership Institute that Mayor Collins and City Attorney and City's HR Director participated in through the National League of Cities and Towns. There were not very many changes to the recruitment and retention section being the employer of choice, but that one is one of the additions that we added to that section as well to, I believe, in the improving and maintaining city services. So for next steps, again, I know this is kind of your introduction to what we have put together. The intent is to bring a final document, once we have consensus from the commission for adoption or approval, so that we have, kind of a shared roadmap moving forward. Now is the time for feedback, additions, questions. A lot of directors are queued up. If you have questions about specific projects that are in here, we're happy to come back to another meeting and have a follow-up conversation. If you need more time to digest this, then we can come back to it. It's also, city managers are intent to have periodic updates on this. And so we do recognize it'll be a document that evolves and changes as we go, as new projects, come forward and things get completed. We'll have report backs, most likely quarterly, so that you're aware of, where we stand on things that are in there. And then I think once we get things updated, I've already talked to the city clerk briefly about it, figuring out a good location for this to live online, so that, it can be easily accessed and used by the public. So with that, that's the only thing that I have, city manager.
Peter, thanks, Jake. Thank you. In terms of updates, Mayor, the way I've done this in the past, on an alignment basis, engage the commission on the overall strategic plan, and wait for a point in time where the commission tells us, we're the problem two, at least out of the gate. We put back quarterly in terms of progress that's been made, and as best we can with your busy schedule, but an overall update where we actually set a strategic plan. See how that goes for a period. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Darson. I love this document. Super easy to use. The layout, everything that works from my brain. a question I have, which doesn't require an answer right now, just as I'm thinking about it, if the public is interested in, I tried to come up with a good example, and I'm not sure I did, but under maintain and improve city infrastructure, we have support sustainability goals. And one of them is explore adding a recycling and baling facility. And it's staff commission budget. If the public is interested in ways to engage on, these various topics and priorities, is there an easy way, not requiring an immediate answer, that we can flag, this will be on an agenda here, or look for this here, so that the public is able to engage on the things that are of particular interest to them? Because I think the organization is super cool, but like, when are we going to talk about it? Understanding that agendas are obviously not like years in advance, but I just put that out there to think about as we go forward.
Here, just one more. I'd like to thank Jake. He's coordinated all of this effort with all the department heads and their folks. I think he's done an excellent job. Many other people have been involved, but Jake's been spirited. So he's done nice.
Thank you, Mr. Carson. Commissioner Dane.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jake, this is awesome. So thank you for your presentation and making it look really great. The only feedback I would have is that I think it might be helpful if we even have like a disclaimer maybe at the bottom, and the spacing is so perfect. So I would defer to you about where to put things, but it might be helpful to have some sort of disclaimer that we are going to be having these quarterly updates for the public, and maybe potentially some language around periodic updates to the strategic plan, so that we can take note of the things that we're completing and what's upcoming. Because I think we all wanted this to be a living, breathing document, but we also want to be, we don't want to just check everything off and then say, we're done, no more work to do. We obviously want to continue to improve. So I'm not sure how we could phrase that, but those are just my 2 pieces of feedback.
Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Jacob, thank you very much for your work on this, and to everybody involved. My question was going to be on progress, and with the quarterly updates, I think that's going to be helpful, as well as communicating that to the public as best as we can on the work that's being done, along with ETAs. It kind of makes it tough with some of these projects, but I have to agree that having public involvement on this and communicating with the public would be great.
Mark, thank you. So I guess maybe segueing off of Commissioner Reed's thoughts on public involvement in this, is there any, maybe this is just something to think about, is there any way that citizens advisory groups could be some part of this? So something to think about.
Manager Burton.
Here, I was just going to add, as part of a disclaimer, for any financial investments that are necessary for implementation of this, I think we should state that the commission will make those decisions in the annual budget process. Because I don't want anybody to assume that everything is funded, because it's not. Thank you. Investments of the community.
Okay, is there anyone from the public wishes to address the commission? Madam Clerk, do we have any online?
Mayor, I have no public comment.
Any final words from the commission? This meeting is adjourned.